they did that to cover for Gordon Brown. I don't believe it at all. Most independents disapprove of Obama. GOP Representative Miss Bachmann says that tax rates are like slavery. She's right. A dog has been issued a parking ticket in the Northern Territories. Well, I guess that's political correctness gone awry. 4 legs bad, 4 tires good. Also on michaelsavage.com is a lot of other stuff that you need to read. The new First Lady of Japan. That's right. The once proud Japan says she's been abducted by aliens and that she knew Tom Cruise in a former incarnation. Oh, God. This is ruling Japan. And these are by the way, they won because they're anti-American. So I guess if you're a lunatic, you're anti-American. And if you're a lunatic, you're sure to be a rising star of the left. Well, that makes sense, Beowulf, doesn't it?
Maybe they can make her the new green czar or something like that.
Oh, she is a green. She is definitely a green. You see her husband, the whack job with the long hair? How did a great nation like Japan elect these 2 lunatics? By the way, the site, the michaelsavage.com site's traffic has doubled from 08 to 09. Thank you very much. We've gone up 146% in page views. I mean, that's something significant. 4.8 million page views in the month of August. It's nothing to sneeze at, so visit Michael Savage at michaelsavage.com and read how the UK banned Savage for oil and get a rare, limited, beautiful hardcover edition of Banned in Britain. First printing, first edition, in a beautiful hardcover copy that your children are sure to sell on eBay. Oh, what else is in the news here today on the Savage Nation? Well, you look around, it's so depressing. An Obamacare supporter has apparently bitten off the finger of a protester. Apparently there was a rent-a-mob hired by the Obama minions to say, yes, healthcare, 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 free healthcare for illegals. And there were 25 people across the street who were counter-protesters. And one of the Obamaites who wanted healthcare so badly for illegal aliens ran across the street and bit off the finger of a protester, screaming, methinks thou protesteth too much. They recovered the finger, and we do not know if the protester who lost the finger had health care.
I knew the left was hungry for change, but this is ridiculous.
Oh, 1-800-449-8255.
It looks like Representative Paul Brown, we've had him on the show before, has been continuing to listen to the Savage Nation because he's been raising the specter of the Democrats turning the United States into a totalitarian state. He's from Georgia, and apparently he's not changed his belief that President Obama may be fascist since he made similar remarks in Augusta in November. And he's out there saying it again.
Is that a Congressman warns of dictatorship story?
That's absolutely correct, yeah.
Well, Georgia on my mind. Play some Georgia on my mind in here.
Georgia.
Georgia. I can't sing.
The whole day through.
Riots in China after hit-and-run syringe attacks. Taxi cab explodes near Times Square. Swedish dad in bid for breast milk. Oh, God. Well, look, if you have a prime minister in England who is a complete and total schmuck, who will release a mass murderer for an oil deal, and he's not in prison, if Gordon Brown is not in prison, and then you have a first lady in Japan who was just elected who says she was abducted by aliens, and then you have a complete and total imposter as president in America, why can't we believe that a Swedish dad is in bid for breast milk? Obamacare supporter bites off finger of protester. We always knew that they were compassionate and believed in tolerance, but we didn't know that the politically correct crowd would bite your finger off if you disagreed with them, did you? I mean, they bit my freedom off, but did you believe they would bite a finger off? Well, maybe in a way that is symbolic in that sense. Kidnapped girl's aunt tells story of reunion with family after 18 years. I don't want to even talk about it. You hear about the race card going on in New York.
The governor there?
Yeah, the governor. And Charlie Rangel, now that he's been found to be a tax cheat, he's bringing out the race card. How do they get away with this?
I noticed that Pelosi isn't going to take any action against Rangel. It's absolutely incredible.
But it's illegal.
Yeah.
Here is a guy caught being a tax cheat. He runs the tax committee. His name is Charlie Rangel. And here's what he has to say. Some Americans have not gotten over the fact that Obama is president of the United States. They go to sleep wondering, how did this happen? First it was Governor Patterson. You hear? Now the dean of New York's congressional delegation has played the race card. And just as the governor did it, he's using President Barry Obama to do it. Rangel said that bias and prejudice toward Obama are fueling opposition to health care reform. Can you believe this? Black people don't like this. They really don't like this. They hate it. They really hate this, that these bigots and these thieves and these crooks use race to peddle their thievery. Representative Peter King responded by saying, Charlie Rangel knows that race has nothing to do with the health care debate. He should not be implying that race has anything to do with it, said Rep. Peter King, R. Long Island. A state conservative party leader, Mike Long, called Rangel's comment, quote, outrageous and outlandish, and suggested that Congressman Rangel might be trying to deflect attention from his ethics woes. No kidding. It's going to backfire on them because everybody knows a con man when they see one. How did this country get here? Wow.
You've had black conservatives call into the program on numerous occasions decrying exactly that sort of tactic.
The high-priced whore or escort who romped with a disgraced ex-governor Eliot Spitzer had a few comments to New York ladies. You know what she said? Did you hear this one, guys?
No, I haven't heard this one yet.
The hooker who romped with Spitzer and got the governor fired has a message because Spitzer wants to run again. So the hooker said to New York ladies, you know better than me. She said, get real and get over yourself. She said, the women who judge her said, you just love to judge people. That's interesting. Here's a hooker saying, don't be judgmental. Don't call me a hooker. Now, you talk about political correctness. You hear this? Here's a hooker saying, most girls, to varying degrees, of course, want to be pampered and have nice shoes, designer handbags, and gorgeous clothes. So, in other words, they're willing to become prostitutes with it? That's unbelievable. So, in other words, if a woman has that stuff and worked for it, let's say she became a doctor, a lawyer, a corporate executive, a teacher, a social worker, or even a normal housewife, they're all hookers now? That's terrible. The bad girl whose family lives in New Jersey blasted suburban Garden State housewives who are strung out on mood stabilizers. So, in other words, all the women in Soprano Land are on drugs. Spitzer stepped down after he was outed for paying $4,300 for sex with Dupre. You know, that alone should have gotten him thrown out. Any man who would have to pay $4,300 for a hooker when the going rate is $300, it just shows you that government officials don't know anything about reality when it comes to money. I mean, if the going rate is $300 for a hooker, right? And we're not talking about someone outside a fish market. That's the rate on an internet. Why would the governor pay $4,300? It just shows you that the government spending is out of control, even when it comes to these things. He could have gotten 11 hookers for that amount of money. Why did he get one? Well, that's like the government. That's like the budget of New York. Everything's 11 times as expensive. And aspirin, which costs 10 cents, costs $12 in New York. So there it is. In other words, the whole world is upside down. So let's see. We have a first lady of Japan who was abducted by aliens and knew Tom Cruise in another life. We have an ex-governor of New York who paid $4,300 for a hooker when the going rate is $300, and you wonder why the budget's out of control. We have Barry Obama, who is addressing school children for the first time in American history, telling them that he wants them to do something for him personally, which is to brainwash their parents into health care reform. And the world goes on. That's as the world turns today on the Savage Nation.
Savage. The fusion of entertainment and enlightenment. I'm Glenn Beck, weekdays, noon to 3 on Talk 910 KNEW.
People complain about the price of gasoline all the time. Well, if you think it's bad now, just wait. Under the Waxman-Markey cap and trade bill, it doesn't look as though gasoline prices will only go up and up. They'll go through the sky. Joining us now is Ben Lieberman, who has been looking into this.
Thanks, Michael. Well, Labor Day signals the end of the summer vacation season. Will it turn out to be the last cheap one for gasoline? The Obama administration and Congress certainly seem intent on making it so. Now, although pump prices from Memorial Day through Labor Day were far from a bargain at around $2.60 a gallon, they were more than $1 lower than last summer when prices exceeded $4 a gallon for the first time ever. We can attribute much of the drop since then to the recession and reduced demand for gas. Millions more people no longer have jobs to drive to. Others have saved money by cutting back on or canceling vacation plans. Businesses have made fewer deliveries, etc. But recessions don't last forever. And if nothing is done to boost the supply of affordable fuel, the pain at the pump will return as soon as the economy recovers and demand picks up. Politicians should be using this time to help stave off the next big gas price spike. Instead, they're trying to do just the opposite. The worst so-called solution is the Waxman-Markey cap-and-trade bill, which aims to cut emissions of carbon dioxide from energy use. Proponents claim that emissions are warming the planet to dangerous levels, so they're seeking to reduce how much gasoline and other fossil fuels Americans use. The bill would cause gasoline prices to rise high enough so the public would be forced to use less and meet the bill's ever-tightening energy rationing targets. It's a deliberate effort by the U.S. government to make gasoline, not to mention electricity and natural gas, less affordable. According to a Heritage Foundation analysis, the bill would boost the price at the pump by 20 cents a gallon when the provisions first take effect in 2012, and the targets get tougher each year, and by 2035 the increase would be an inflation-adjusted $1.38 a gallon, and that's on top of any other price increases that might occur. By the way, even if one assumes the worst of future global warming, and there are plenty of reasons not to, this bill is estimated by climate scientist Chip Knappenberger of New Hope Environmental Services to reduce the Earth's future temperature by no more than 0.2 degrees Celsius by 2100.